Hello, everyone, and welcome to ABA 2034 Progs. We are now up to 48 teams. We've been really having a great last few seasons. Activity is at its highest. The donation pool is absolutely insane. And we just had an incredibly active free agency, probably the best free agency we've ever had. I mean, we have, I think, 5 or 6 players that would have been the best player in any of the last few classes. Um, so I'm pretty excited to see where we go from here. What I'm going to do, we do have a live audience, so they'll be saying stuff in comments, and I'll be reading that live. And then after there'll be a little section where they might have their things. It looks like from the comments everyone wants to do Z to A. I'm seeing Z to A. So I think we'll do Z to A. And first things first, we're just going to go down to multi-team mode here, and then we'll run the progs, make sure every team is highlighted. We have two minor relocations. Hong Kong is finalizing their move over to, oh boy, I think it's Latvia. They're going to Kansas. I think it's Latvia. Yep, I might be making a huge fool of myself here. I think it's Latvia. That they're the Green Forest. I believe it's the Zalgiris. Sorry, European basketball history not my greatest, but we do also have the Virginia Squires moving over to the Paris Eternals. Anyway, we'll just go right into the progs right here. And yeah, so progs. All right. There's going to be a lot out there in free agency, I think. Remember, we are doing the now each team will have the ability for 2 players under 48 overall, since under 48 overall, to sign for 2-way contracts in which they can't be traded, but they don't hit the cap floor. But there's only a 1 season thing. But anyway, with that, we will just go straight into the teams here. Give me 1 second, minor technical thing on my end. There we go. Okay. So people said they wanted to see us start all the way at the bottom here, so we will. We'll go all the way down to Wisconsin Whalers, and then I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more for y'all. And here we go. Wisconsin's Progs. So first up, pick up Eli Manning. I mean, Adam McGillen. Honestly, I'm going to be completely real with you. He is the Eli Manning to David McGillen's Peyton Manning. And the fact that he's become like a minor star, he's on a massive contract just like Eli was. I honestly think it's pretty funny and pretty hype at the same time. Emmanuel King takes a step back, but frankly, this isn't too bad a team. They do definitely need a clear-cut point guard, as right now they have a lot of shooters and a lot of big men, but no really clear-cut point guard. I think they were hoping Rondo would step up, but he certainly did not. Fortunately, though, this team has a lot of depth and is actually in a lot better position than they were last year. And Adam McGillen could look out for a huge breakout season. I don't think he's going to ever surpass his brother, but I do think it's really funny that we now have another borderline superstar named McGillen. All right, looking at Winnipeg here. That is a broken logo. Somebody wants to jot that down in comments, so I can fix that. EJ Peterson with a absolutely huge prog. That's one of the best cap progs. I think that's his rookie cap prog, right? Yeah, that's his rookie cap prog. We have another Axel Blaze coming here. Anthony Anthony the Vort. I'm just going to add that nickname. That's easier to remember. There we go. Tony the Vort. That sounds great. He progged okay. That's good. Austin Hamilton looks like he's going to have star potential. Honestly, Winnipeg, like, they have a ton of cap room and a lot of young talent. 2 to 3 years, this team could be a legitimate like contender. Yeah. All right. Washington, their big offseason moves all looking really rough right now. They're a deep team, kind of, but they're definitely not in a particularly great spot. These are not the progs that you want to see from them. We already have a couple teams that are saying that they're seeing. A couple people in the comments are saying that the best progs they've ever seen were the first two, and Washington definitely did not get on that train. I don't know. I'm gonna take a look here. Winnipeg had good progs, Wisconsin had good progs, but neither I think are GOAT progs. I mean, Winnipeg definitely sold their soul for something.
Gotta remember Anaheim's like 3 straight years of God Progs.
Yes, Anaheim did have God progs I think the best Progs I've ever seen was Portland and DBL. Now we look at Vancouver here. They have a lot of depth, but it did not age well at all. Good news is Artis Gilmore looks like he's going to be good this year, and Kevin McDowell really took a step up. It's a solid team, but I don't think they're quite at the true contender stage yet. But my God, the rebounds. The amount of rebounds this team is going to get next season is scary.
Yeah, Gilmore is going to be another defensive player of the year candidate. Easy.
For sure. We look here at Utah. So Utah has a bit of a cap problem since LeBron James's contract got updated, but frankly, they don't look particularly bad. I mean, they're going to need to make some depth moves. I wouldn't be surprised if they move Gady. I mean, he's a horrible contract now. Him and Minity definitely are going to be traded. I want to say for sure, right? Frankly, I wouldn't be shocked if LeBron gets moved. Like, I know you don't want to trade your franchise player, but I don't know if they're going to be able to win in that time stretch that they still have him locked down for. There's also a chance they move Petrie. He has a decent amount of value, him not going down. Last season, I think he put up some pretty good stats. Let's see, last year he was 15 and 9. You could probably get a pair of firsts for the right time from a contender for him. So we'll see if they make any moves. I don't think they want to cap dump him. Gady's a cap dump, frankly. I mean, even last year, Gady, or 2 years ago, Gady, when he was winning Rio, averaged 19.3 points. Even that isn't worth 33 million. He just has continually regressed rather than improved and become a good all-around player. He just became an okay all-around player. Looking at Toronto here, this is a rebuilding team, and this is what you kind of want a rebuilding team to look like. There's a lot of young players that had decent progs, a lot of bad players having progs. Frankly, they're starting the rebuild here pretty clearly. They didn't really get it going when they had the LiAngelo Ball, Michael Jordan era. With the exception of Donovan Butler and LiAngelo Ball, no player's been on the team for more than 5 seasons. And the only other guy that has is Jason Sullivan, who exists, and that's basically the best thing you can say about him. LiAngelo Ball is finally not in the shadow of Michael Jordan, which sounds really strange. He had been behind Michael Jordan every single season of his career in terms of being the team's primary outside shooter. I wouldn't be surprised if LiAngelo Ball has a really big season for them, potentially close to 20 points. I mean, depends if they make moves and such, but him and George Gervin at the 3 and 4 or at the 2 and 3 going to be great combo. They really do need to get a point guard in that starting lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if Banev or Muse take that spot. Honestly, looking at Banev here, I would definitely throw Banev in. Like, he could be a really, really powerful tool for them this season. So I'd definitely get Banev in there at their starting point guard. He could be a really great defender this season. Looking at Tijuana now, last season they made the playoffs as an expansion team, which is impressive. But frankly, they didn't have much to do in the offseason, and they're kind of still in the same spot here. I actually think they're going to take a step back despite fairly positive progs. Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden progged up, so there's that. Tarantula just crashed.
Yeah, Tarantula does not get the mod rig for his cap.
No, he does not. But they got a lot of good progs when it comes to young guys off the bench. So these definitely aren't the worst progs I've seen in recent memory. They're not bad by any stretch. They're just average. Nothing really surprising. The one thing I will say that's really cool about this team is they have a lot of depth at several different positions. And frankly, they could move all of these guys around in their starting lineup, and they might, by the end of the season, be able to find a combo that does work well enough to get them into the playoffs. I think it's going to be close. They're probably going to be best served as selling some of their quality players. I don't know how much value they'll get, particularly from some of their starters, but I suppose if he puts up good defensive stats, they could potentially swap Jar Jar or Faison or even Clarkson for an even worse contract and pick up something there. But I don't know. They're in a weird spot. Taking a look at Tampa Bay here, Oh wow, they got a good prog. So they actually didn't have. They had a 0 team rating. Now they're up to an 11. They have almost $100 million in cap, which they'll have to spend a bunch of before the season starts. And they now have a franchise player on a rookie contract. Um, that in a vacuum like this, the stats that this man could put up. Oh wow, he's at 100 endurance. This guy's like Josh Wade, young. That's, don't know what he's going to put up. I really don't. It's going to be insane though.
He's
Um,
already almost maxed out in DIQ too. He could be the defensive,
yeah,
even better defensive version of Wade in his prime.
he looks like he's a Wade that he's young. The big thing with Wade, it stopped Wade from being a mega star. He was still a superstar, but he wasn't a McGillen. Was because he never really developed as a point guard. And these next 2 seasons are going to be crucial to developing John Lee as a point guard. Right now, he's average, which is where Wade was around this time. He needs to continue that trend, or else he will risk just staying as a great shooting guard. But you don't see megastar shooting guards in ABA. In terms of
Goose
their
wants the individual ratings on Peter Pan.
Peter Pan, oh, here we go. Um, Unfortunately, he does have a casualty when it comes to the IQ, but he does have some max traits. I will give him that. Very strange cap indeed, but we'll see how he plays this season. If he plays, that's the thing. This team is. If I'm Durantula, I'm making some moves here because so much um cap and you can take on right now this season. He could take 2 cap dumps that expire 2 years from now, pick up a bunch of assets, and still be a contender for the next 2 years. It's very crazy. All right, looking at Snohomish, they got good progs, including Joe Mama with one of the best rookie progs. He's already a day one MVP candidate. I don't know if he's quite MVP, but he's definitely up there.
Definitely
Cottrell
all league.
Ellis, I feel like he was not star last year, but I guess he got a big enough contract and played well. Um, I wish Dan was here because, man, would Dan be happy? So much for Brent Jones, though. Brent Jones, known for being a tank commander and being an absolutely horrid shooter, he's now a backup on honestly, a contender. Like, to say this team is anything other than a contender would just be wrong. I mean, I imagine that they'll make some moves. They'll probably move, um, I want to say Jalen Weir because they got to have Steve Uma starting, right? But this is going to be a really solid team real soon. So next up, Seattle. Um, Ray Barrera, Tall Smith. Um, Honestly, they're kind of okay. This team is surprisingly okay. It's not miserable. I know a lot of people might think Seattle's been miserable since Cole left, but this is not a miserable team. This is a solid team. Not great, but solid. And if Tall Smith can put up some of the stats that he did just a couple years ago, I think just 2 years ago, he was putting up incredibly efficient stats, 14 rebounds, 19 points per game, and 3 blocks. And he hasn't fallen that far down. I think he's only 4 down from that, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, he isn't the same player he was, but honestly, his team isn't that far off, especially if Slider keeps developing. Um, they could be, if they make some solid moves, they could potentially contest a late playoff position this season. Um, oh, yep, people do point out a good thing. Joe Mama's nerf. Let's see. He will lose 8 DIQ and 1 OIQ. That's rough. We'll see how that goes.
That's tough. He still got cap points, so
Let's put that in right now, and we'll just see where that leaves him because I feel like this is a pretty big thing when it comes to him. Um, Honestly, still not bad. Still went up 5. Still went up 5, and Snohomish still is a contender even with that small loss. I mean, they only lost 1 team rating, so I wouldn't be too worried there. All right, looking at San Francisco here, Zion Jajaeus goes down, Colton Nicholas goes down, but frankly, if you're uh, Biomorand, I think he's the GM of this team. You got to be happy. Like this team looks so much better than it did just 2 seasons ago, and they barely missed the playoffs last year. They have a lot of quality depth, had good progs among their young guys, even have a little bit of cap flexibility. Um, Frankly, this is not too bad of progs for them. I mean, you don't like to see your star additions go down, but you want to make a playoff run, and I think they're almost a lock for the playoffs now. I don't know how far they'll go, but I think they're a lock. So that will go on to San Diego. Um, Swaginson going up big. Frankly, with so much cap room, this team's got to be a perfect destination. They have most of their picks. They have no bad contracts. They have to be one of the top destinations for GMs. I think they just landed a GM today. Let me pull his name up real quick. Um, 1 second on that. They landed Goku Be Insane today. And I think that he'll enjoy running this team. This is in a really good spot. It's going to be interesting to see what moves they make. I think that they definitely have a lot of ways that they could go. All right. Looking at the Black Mambas now. Tanner is staying stagnant, which is disappointing on that contract.
Great prog from Yeager.
Yeager, yeah, those are great pros. What pick was Yeager? Second round pick. When you can get a second round pick that becomes a superstar potential guy, I mean, you have a lot of options there. Earl Monroe is still in the league. He was one of the OG caps. Like he was one of the first caps. And he actually was fairly productive last season, but damn, a -7. It's rough. I don't know if he's going to be able to overcome that. So we'll go. Next guy here is Providence. They're coming off of their first playoff appearance in franchise history, and on the surface, they have much of the same returning supporting cast. That was bad, but frankly, horrid progs and the loss of Colton Nicholas, who did get a huge contract that would have probably hurt the franchise a little bit. Frankly, this team's going to have to make some moves to against the playoffs. And they're on the wrong side age wise. They're definitely starting to meet the age barrier. Seeing Rodney Robinson, who is a very long time stable guard, take his biggest drop off of his career here. I mean, he's coming off a season with Providence, which he averaged 10-8 the year before, and then just 6-3 last season. I don't see him averaging even 6-3 this year. So this team definitely needs to do some work to keep alive. And Willie Huddleston became a bad contract after being a steal last season. So that's a whole strange situation. Taking a look at Pittsburgh here, they have 12 million in cap space. They have a new GM, and Gabe Hawk goes down, but Yao does stay around. Frankly, these are good depth progs and good progs for a young team. Irfan with the big prog. I do think you'd be a little disappointed if you're a Condors fan, because they definitely blew up the team a bit. And I don't know if they're really going to be looking in the playoffs this season. I think that they could be fun to watch, but I don't see them winning more than say 35 games. And
Rigged.
They're probably going to be making some moves. We'll see.
Bruh. You rigged us.
No, you got
Like
fine progs. You got fine progs. It's just
yeah, I guess.
It's
At least
only
y'all beat
rigged
went
because
up.
the Gardner did not prog well, so
Oh, bro.
that is why.
Yeah.
He's a fan favorite,
Yeah,
and
yes.
you did this to him.
Gardner.
All right, looking at the Paris Eternal, former Virginia Squires. Prince Royal did prog up. They definitely won that trade. I forget what the trade was, but there was a trade they made with Minnesota. Yeah, for Tommy Johnson. I'm just going to click on Johnson. Minor spoilers. Tommy Johnson's a 56-61. And they had traded Prince Royal, who was a 61-70. Yeah, that's a win. Whenever you could do that, huge win for them. Turkey Jack going down is not great. He's on a long-term deal, but frankly, I think that their guards are now set. They definitely are set at guard for a while with Britt Royal and Barden. They just have nothing up front right now. I don't want to say that they should start Ergon, but I think they got to. I think he's their only man. Like, Yeah, I'm looking at it. He's only 6'7" though. Though as a starter, just a couple seasons ago, he averaged 5.8 rebounds. But they need to get a big man ASAP, or this team's in a rough season. All right. Oh, and George McGinnis went crashing down. So, all right. New York Nets. Bill Murray takes a step back after getting a huge contract. That is the opposite the direction they wanted to see him go in. Jake
That's a
King goes
terrible contract.
down. Yeah, now that's already like a massive you'll have to cap dump it, but he might produce as a 3-point specialist. So I don't even know if it's worth cap dumping or just tanking it out, because you're going to have to tank anyway for a couple years. But you do run the risk of, you have two potential phenoms there. What do you do with them? And you already have an established point guard and power forward. Granted, King's more of a small forward. You really just needed a point guard or a shooting guard. So Murray could, in theory, fill that. You have $20 million in cap space. I think there's some quality free agents. I haven't taken a look yet, but I know TJ Ford, for example, didn't sign. If I'm them, I'm pursuing those guys hard. You pull one of those in, a guy like a TJ Ford or something. Maybe you're able to do something with this season and use Murray in a trade to get a star. I could see them dumping him and picking up a star. So we'll see. New Jersey Americans get a great prog from who's proven to be a great contract this time around on his big deal. His big deal, bad player, small deal, great player, borderline superstar, Harold Maven. Really didn't expect that to occur, but it did. They had a good prog from Kari Jackson, good prog from 3. Is Basura actually going to be usable? This dude's been a scrub his entire career, and I think he's going to be usable. That's crazy. See, Frazier goes down. That's unfortunate. Honestly, these are just okay progs. It's weird to see Dallas Moore go up, but he's not going to play on them either. So this is a team that you would have liked to see better progs, especially from David and Jumpin. But I think they'd have to like their progs at least a decent amount, since it means that this season alone they're definitely a playoff team, maybe even going to be able to push for a medium tier seed. We'll take a look later. Looking at Montreal, they only got 6 players on their roster. They only got $2 million in cap space, so they're only going to be able to add a maximum of 4 players to this team. You got Fleecer. He progged up, but bad progs for Damian, KG, and Gilgy. This might be the end of the Montreal dynasty. Damian's going to have to make some work to get this team back to where they were. I wouldn't be surprised if part of that work is to blow it up here. Yeah, that prog from Gilgy is a real killer. I do want to see how Damian produces, but to be entirely honest, his cap had offers for 6-year, $40 million deals and took a 2-year deal with a contender. That might have been regretful in retrospect for his cap's longevity. Next here we go to Minnesota, and Axel progs down, but don't worry, they get the positive progs from Jay and Reggie. Homer, no longer run by his cap, does not have the restrictions for the IQ, though he does go down there. Billy Bogues goes down a little bit, but I think you've got to love these progs. I mean, look at Aaron Fox. Nobody saw that coming. That's a huge win for them. Definitely
I hate the
taking the win.
Muskies. I hate the Muskies, even though I'm on their team. And
Another
they're
Gian
like
prog up.
they're the evil empire of. They're like the Golden State Warriors of the ABA.
No. That's Montreal. That is Montreal. I'm happy with these Muskie progs. I could see the Muskies doing well. And I know nobody wants to see a team like them win, but actually they will take a small hit. We'll see how that does to Kumar here if he gets hit by the cap max. We'll see. I don't think that's going to hit his progs too hard. Oh, I think he just broke even. That's rough.
Can you check my cap? I want to see what happened with him.
Yep. Taking a look at Billy Bogues here. Just age, Billy. Age is what hit you.
Yeah, you got a little cap points. Maybe I can bring him back up to 60.
Looking at Milwaukee here, yeah, that's unfortunate. This team
That's
is
the Halloween progs.
Yeah. These progs are blow it up, rebuild time. You can probably get maybe something for Stonkus. Here, maybe this is just me making projections. I could totally see New York sending Bill Murray for Mark Stonkus. New York throwing in a couple picks. It would make a whole lot of sense, in my opinion, because you're picking up a significantly better fit for the New York team. They're getting a star who's got 2 years left, but is definitely still overpaid. Milwaukee gets to start their rebuild and gets a decent shooter who's going to be overpaid for a bit. I don't know. I could see it happening. Taking a look at Miami here. David Manning becoming a superstar. It's good timing for them, especially with McPherson Thompson starting to go downhill. This team is deep, but doesn't have any eye-popping superstar progs anywhere. Dweez Burleson going down. I feel like with Miami, it's been this never-ending. They don't have a face of the franchise. They just have a bunch of really great players, and they're doing that once again here. TJ Kosher's still around. Future and Drake still around. Future and Drake's fairly new, but Kosher's still around. Venable is still in the league. I'm actually kind of shocked there. Yeah, Miami's just an okay team in the East. Frankly, I really like New Jersey's roster better than theirs, but it looks like right now Miami's rated higher. Yeah. So next up here we got Mexico. Bruno Kendrick, the face of this franchise, clearly. No question about it. With a superstar point guard like Kendrick, because Kendrick's frankly been one of the best passing point guards in league history. Averaged 15 assists last season. The league in steals too. With a guy like Kendrick, you just need to get a good score next to him. And they have a lot of guys that might be that guy. Willie Wright could become a potential superstar for them. Bolombi is, he's a quality shooting guard. He shoots a high percentage from the free throw line, but he's not really a great 3-point shooter. And I guess we'll see what Hogan has here as he takes a big step up. Fortunately, they have him signed for a few more years. Hopefully, he develops into that great scorer, because for the last few years, it's been Jacobs and Sampson, and Sampson's continuing to regress. But frankly, this could be a surprisingly good Mexico team. They added Scalabrini to give them a real quality sixth man off the bench. Yeah, I wouldn't be too upset with these products if I were them. They got nice prospects down in Alex Hammer as well. Yeah, honestly, not too bad. If Hogan can develop into a really good forward for them, they could have a potential 1-2 duo. Kendrick just elevates this entire team to another level, frankly. And yeah, there's not much else to say other than Kendrick's a beast. All right. So David McGillen just won't stop. He keeps
I know
going
it's
on.
Halloween, but that's just a bit too cursed. I don't know. Come on now.
Damn.
That's too much for the
See,
league.
we're back though. We're back in the era of McGillen has no teammate. McGillen had two superstars. One of them goes and blows up his leg, and the other one regresses like crazy. And McGillen's back to being in the middle of nowhere. Granted, he has a bunch of quality teammates. They're not great. He doesn't have a co-star. We could see 40-point McGillen again. Let's be real. This man's winning MVP unless he gets hurt. 6 straight MVP. Absolute beast. Still going to be the Peyton Manning to the Eli. Ironically, I would say I think Wisconsin has they might not be too far back in terms of supporting cast. I don't know. I think Adam McGillen might have a better supporting cast than David McGillen. We'll take a look here. We got Sam Eustace, Richard Williams, and Apex versus Kodov. Oh no, I'm just crazy. I don't know. Kodov might produce better, but yeah. All right. So after Melbourne here, we got Los Angeles Defenders, Corona Avarice's alma mater, and Manhurts with a big prog up. And okay, I don't think they're going to be upset anymore. They were a little upset that they got Light instead of Joe Mama Karen. But yeah, Light looks like he's going to be the Luka Doncic of the ABA. They look like they have a really solid duo here. AO still produces. The really big problem that they have is they don't got any bigs on their team, considering they expected to get Joe Mama and they traded Caron. But who knows? Just a couple seasons ago, we saw a Bobby Mania in Edmonton. No,
I think this is a great prog for them. This is even better than having Joe Karen, in my opinion. This
I agree.
timeline really fits way better with a 20-year-old star.
I completely agree. And frankly, if I'm them, I throw Bobby in there, run either Dean or AO off the bench because Bobby was a borderline all-star 2 years ago. Granted, it was a fluke out of nowhere. If you can get some of that same production from him in the post, this team could potentially. I don't think they are a playoff team, but with some injuries to other teams and some great play from their young star, they could be surprisingly good. Also, Manhurts, if they decide not to go for contending this season, Manhurts will have tremendous trade value. So with that, we'll go on to Las Vegas here. They brought in Austin Warner to join the surprisingly strong duo that got them into the playoffs and a deep playoff run of Karl-Anthony Towns and Noel. However, I don't know if Warner's enough to put them over the scale. They didn't really lose any of their depth here, but bad Progs did destroy their bench. So I guess they lost their depth in terms of performance-wise. We'll see. Owings picking up a good prog is very helpful, and I think Warner will put up some huge numbers this season. I wouldn't even be shocked if Warner approaches 30 points per game. He was an absolute beast with Denver at 21 points per game last season, but Denver was a much better team around him. And I think Warner could prove to be an efficient scorer this season for them. So we'll see how Warner does in Vegas. Looking at Kentucky here, RMT's made some win now moves. I don't know if this team really can win now, but for them, all that was important, they didn't care if they had good progs or not. They just wanted to not die. They had a lot of guys who were getting old. And frankly, I don't know if I'm too upset with these progs if I'm them. They didn't lose anything huge to age. They only lost between their starting five, they only lost a total of 9 points. They could have lost a whole lot more and been in a lot worse position. They probably should make a move to get some depth, but they do have the cap to bring in a full bench, including the two guys that they'll be able to add with two-way contracts. So we'll see how they do this season.
They need a center bad.
Yeah. The Connis, Green Forest, Irvin Miles defies age right now. I think they actually have to cut someone because they're 300K over. Yeah, they'll have to cut one of the rookies, but honestly, this isn't too bad a team. They're just Chris Bosch continues to put up big minutes somehow. Like he's mysteriously found his way to be on a rebuilding team his entire career and consistently put up decent stats in big minutes. It's kind of strange. What's weird is like Dwayne Wade is worse than Chris Bosch in this league, but anyway, Irvin Miles put up a huge season last year, 21, 11, and 6. I don't see any way that goes down. I'd say it's probably going to go up. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a 23, 12, and 7 season from Miles. And frankly, if there's an injury to Bosch and or Shep, I wouldn't be shocked if this team potentially sees Irvin Miles go for a triple-double, but we'll see if we get there. In addition, Lazy Bear is still around, coming off of his best season. I don't see any way he puts up great stats, but could be crazy. Kansas City, one of the big winners of the offseason here. They got killed by Progs, literally killed on their bench. But from a starting standpoint, they are fine, I guess. Good Progs from Leland, bad Progs for 3 of their other starters. McNamara somehow Progs okay. But
why are they so high over the cap?
they have I might have messed up. Yeah, I think I messed up and signed an extra guy. I'll talk to them and get sorted out. Worst case though, they do have guys they can cut. But yeah, we'll get that sorted out. Either way, not great Progs. Oscar Willis, horrid contract now. Unfortunately, it looks like that they got Oscar Willis and Jamel Ford co-stars way too late. I mean, Jamel Ford isn't even startable anymore, so we'll see how that gets sorted out. All right, Jacksonville. All right, so they did not get good progs at all. Nope, not one bit. They didn't lose anyone horribly, but these progs aren't great. All right.
We're seeing the last seconds of Matt Pitts. Yeah,
Oh no,
that's my takeaway.
Matt Pitts. Matt Pitts?
Yeah,
No, 45 overall.
and Pittman is too.
Yeah,
Both of those
this team's
guys.
a retirement home, and it's pretty funny. All right. Taking a look at Hawaii, they finally got the good progs, and man, age, they are lucky. Father Time is on their side somehow. Skarn progging up. I think this is the first time Skarn's been over 60 in like 4 seasons. But good progs from all of their starters. They were making a run at Damian Savage, didn't get him. G-Main did retire, but honestly, it's going to be weird to see how this team plays this season. I think they're a contender, definitely one of the best teams in the West. They might be on. I think they're better than Melbourne personally, because Melbourne doesn't really have much of a supporting cast, and Penetrator has proven that he can duke it out with David McGillen in a series. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Kenny Clark is also a great addition to this team. I think he's a good fit with their lineup. And seeing Casey Cunningham prog good is nice. D.D. Savage has been a consistently solid starting center too. And Conky Don, yeah, this is a good offseason for this team. They did well. Looking at Flint here, so Isaiah Thomas becomes a 70, teaming with Ryan Peel. Great progs depth-wise. I mean, this team is now one of the deepest teams in the East. I think they're borderline a true contender this season. No horrible progs here, nothing super special. It just is what it is. Taking a look at Edmonton now. Wow, Edmonton got good progs actually here. A huge prog from Mackey, getting good progs from their best 3 players. Only Hassan Green really going down, but Green and Thomas both probably cap dump worthy. But I don't know if this team is really a contender or a seller. I want to say seller because you look at their starting lineup and I don't even know if they want to sell. I mean, maybe you move Hopkins. This is such a weird team. They need to define if they're a contender or not, frankly. And I can't even tell what they are. So
they always overachieve, even as like mid-50s team rating team like this.
That is true. Looking at their history, they have made the playoffs 2 straight seasons, but this is their first year without Vortex. So we'll see. Frankly, I have no idea what this team's going to do. None at all. I don't know if this is a rebuilding team, a playoff team. No clue. Taking a look here at Detroit. Detroit under new GM that's actually part of our new partnership with NZ CFL. Super excited about that. They're over a 350 person server. They're a college football GM server. And very excited to be working with them. They've been giving us some recommendations as far as advertising the server goes and making it more approachable for new players. And I'm super excited to that. I know we've also been having a lot of our players head over there, and I'm so excited to be working with them. And he's actually done a phenomenal job with his team so far.
Crazy progs, plus 19, plus 18, plus 10, plus 18. Oh my God.
Honestly, that's what you want, right? Those you don't care about the -3s or whatever. You want those big ones, and they got them. And to be honest, Halenga does still produce at that. He might be a 51, but he's still going to put up the numbers. So
yeah, believe me, I know. when I traded him right before, or I put him into the expansion draft right before, like right when he started heading downhill, and Virginia kind of got stuck with a half bad contract. But
yeah, it was so weird because
20 and 10.
He went to Virginia, now Paris, and he averaged 25 points per game.
There was no one else on that team, but he was still in over 60 overall. So I mean, with no one else on his team and his build, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, I think that frankly, Halenga is one of the best scorers in league history. I don't know if he ever averaged he ever average? Yeah, he led the league in scoring twice. I don't think he wasn't able to do it during the McGillen era, but prior to McGillen, he was phenomenal.
I have a quick fun fact about Halenga.
Yeah.
His only MVP season was the year that Cincinnati missed the playoffs as an 84 team rating.
Oh wait! Did he actually win MVP? Did he actually win MVP?
Yes, he did.
That's crazy. I was actually thinking, and since there's a lot of people here, I guess I'll shoot by everyone. But I was going to do strange careers. As I throw my lighter across the table, strange careers in ABA, and I was looking at Muse Adams. Just a little sneak peek. I was probably going to make a couple of videos on it, and I guess I'll do Holenga as well. But Muse Adams, craziest thing nobody realizes is the dude was a superstar with New Jersey. Looked like he was going to be an MVP candidate for years, and then they just up and traded him, and then he became like a sixth man, and now he's like literally a scrub on a non-playoff team, and he's like 32.
What a move.
Steve Rice is another player in a similar spot, but he's now just basically out of the league. Looking at Denver, they replaced Warner with TJ. I think they like that. The move to get Michael Jordan looked good, but in retrospect, not as much. Ty Jackson Progs down a little bit, but he's still an effective player. Frankly, this team is deep and has quality defenders. I just don't know how well they're going to produce this season. And they after their top 8 players, they do have a bit of a drop off. Wouldn't be surprised if DD tries to make this a contender, but I also don't know if they are a contender. It's going to be a really interesting spot to see how DD handles this. We will take a look at Sam the Clampman Johnson. He's had one of the weirdest careers in ABA, having averaged over 3 steals per game 2 seasons and under 3 points per game 3 seasons.
What a build. What a man.
The single weirdest player in ABA history continues his weirdness. Yeah. All right.
I think I have a hot take. He's going to have his highest points per game in his career. That's my hot take.
Let me take a look. I don't know, man.
He's finally over 50 layups and dunks. So that's my hot take. He's going to get over 3.5 at least.
I'm gonna make a hotter take. I'm gonna say that if DD doesn't start him, I don't know. It all depends on if DD forces this man to play minutes. All right. Either way, we'll go over to Dallas here. Dallas definitely one of the contenders in the West, and bad Progs ravaging their starting lineup. But off the bench, Big Z Progs big enough to become probably a starter, and if not, the big part of the future of this team. They've amazingly seamlessly transitioned, and I have to say I am proud of this. This is one of the best GMing jobs I've ever seen. They transitioned from the old ISO Joe Ray Washington era to this whole new big and chunky Jacob Owens era, and it looks like they got Big Z coming, and he'll probably be a staple from the next coming era. But I don't know how well they're going to do this season. I think they got a lot of depth, but I don't think that they have a really solid co-star anymore. Owens took a big step back. Josh Wade also looking old, but we'll see if this team has one last run in it. Taking a look at Cleveland here, Reed Phelps is probably going to have a good season. I don't know what he did last season. 10-4, not too bad. Honestly, this is a really strange team, frankly.
Yeah, that's tough for all his prospects. Just all in the red.
This is not going to be a playoff team. This is going to be a first overall pick team. I hope they still have their pick. I think they do. Yeah. Pittsburgh has had a cursed history. Yeah, that this will be their probably. This is going to be their 4th straight year under 15 wins. Yeah. All right.
That's not a hot take at all. Ooh.
Cincinnati here. Garrett Jennings with a good prog. Dalston Miller with a good prog. Dalton Miller with a bad prog, switching the brothers. That's going to be confusing all season, but is what it is. Dante Cook going down. It's weird because in my head, Austin Miller, Dante Cook, and Dalton Miller are basically all interchangeable as a 3-4 hybrid. Yeah,
Our team is pretty deep. Wow.
this is the deepest team I've ever seen in Cincinnati.
I'm not known for my depth, but
No.
I will take what is in the cards for Cincinnati.
Yeah, this is a deep team. I do want to say one thing I will note. Only true centers I see on this team are Timothy Kramer, who frankly I thought was more of a power forward when he came into the league. But he's definitely become more of a serviceable center. He'll forever go down as the guy that should have gone after Jacob Owens in the draft, not in front of. But George Moss, Tim Kramer are probably the only two true big men they have. Cook's been playing big, but I don't know. This is going to be a weird season for this team. Oh, and Rand's been all he. Oh no, he is not. I'm getting him confused with someone else. All right. Chicago Bruins. They have 12 million in cap space. Honestly, they don't look too bad if it wasn't for the fact that they have no depth. They have three kind of stars. And Ezekiel Bridges can be an effective shooter, so I'm not too concerned with them there. Yeah. Well,
Their
that
top
will go.
7 is nice.
Yeah, they definitely need to add depth, but that's perfectly fine at this stage in the off season. Charlotte. Whew. Kevin, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's here to answer to the music, but he isn't answering. But
Good prog from Walker. That's about it.
yeah, I mean they're rebuilding clearly. Oh, we got a comment from Kevin? No. Nope. Walker says good shit, so there's that. All right. Taking a look at Carolina here. Corona Avarice goes down 3. Nice. Keep that going. D-Berry going up. Burleson going up. Noah Lloyd up. Good progs all around from their bench.
Very nice progs.
Yeah, nothing great, but not bad.
Fun fact, I met with the Carolina GM in person today. So
really?
Yeah.
Billy, that's so cool. How is he?
Yeah, he is actually the cousin, the picture I sent in the chat, he is his friend. So
cool.
I did in-person recruitment for this league, just to let you know. So that is how far I've gone as a mod.
Dude, that's awesome. That's great. I love to hear it. It makes me smile. I love it. All right.
Also, Amanda TikTok was a in-person recruitment, but that didn't pan out as much as the Carolina GM. He's actually really into it, so it's good to see.
Billy, no. Did I ruin a friendship? I feel like I ruined a friendship.
They are both friends, and I'm not as much of friends with them, but they call me Billy the Kid 1701 in real life, which is kind of weird. But now my entire cousin's friend group calls me Billy the Kid 1701 in person. So we just have a whole, like, he'll bring like 9 kids over to play basketball, and they will all just call me Billy Kid 71. Like, give me the ball, and it is just the most outrageous thing I've seen in my life, and it is insane.
That's great. Going over to Boston now. We got good progs from Nash, Riley. Bad prog from the hair, but not too bad. Honestly, this is a sneaky good team. Trustus is still in the league. And did he play okay last season? No. 13-9 is not that bad, but he's definitely not the superstar he was when he was in Dallas. Carmelo Anthony progged up. This might be the best Anthony's been in like a very long time. Last season he averaged 6.5 points. I bet you he beats that this season. Honestly, this isn't too bad a team. George King's probably going to put up some really quality stats. Fun fact about George King, he hit a game winner in real life in the NBA Finals, but it was called the BAA Finals, I believe. It was 1954, I think, that he hit it. You can look it up. There's a video of it. It's super low res, and by super low res, I mean it is lower res than your iPod Shuffle, which is literally didn't have a screen. But my point is it's super old. But yeah. Bosnia here. So they definitely made a lot of moves in the offseason here. Is their positioning around losing Axel Blaze. The big thing is they retained 40. They added Daughtry as well. Seals is definitely a nice pickup. Garrett continues to be one of the best contracts in the league. Granted, definitely not as good as he was when he was in Tampa. I think he was in Tampa, right? Yeah, he was the Tampa star. He looked really good for a few years in Tampa, but he's definitely regressed now. Overall, if I'm Bosnia, I'm not upset with this, but they have work to be done. We'll look at Belgrade here. So M Process comes back and he saves this team. This team looked bad, and frankly, now they look damn good. In addition to Julius and Jake, we now have Jesse King. That's not confusing at all. This is a fairly deep squad with some really high quality stars. And Luca, the one true star, Hewis, the legend of Hugh continues. Let's see what he's able to do this season. But frankly,
anytime you're related to Hugh being a part of an organization, you can basically chalk up your Progs as being in the green for that season.
Yeah, dude, this was phenomenal Progs by Belgrade, and they're definitely going to be a playoff team this year. It's been a bit of a playoff drought, I think, since they changed over from the Oilers. They've only made the playoffs once, but I think this season, I wouldn't be shocked if they close in on 50 wins, especially with M Process back as GM. He's actually the first ever GM of the Year winner in ABA history. This team I wouldn't be shocked if they follow suit. So, looking at Beijing here, Rares Ola stays neutral along with Billups, but they have a quality backcourt now. Max becoming a true star is nice. Baldwin continues to be a solid quality power forward. They really just need a center, and this team is going to be stacked for a bit. They're pretty deep as well, and they have $8 million in cap. Honestly, nothing too shocking here. Just a really solid quality offseason for them, and we'll see if they make moves to pick up a starting center. But in terms of assets they could move to get him, I think the number one that makes the most sense would be to move Xavion, potentially Hot Hand Rogers. I suppose you could even put Cagle in as a starting center for now, but it's been a while since he was effective. I think since his Cincinnati days. No, a little after that. He was quality when he was with St. Louis. So since his St. Louis days, but it's been a bit since he's been an effective starter. So we'll see what goes on there. Looking at Atlanta now, BB Kinney staying the same isn't a loss, but isn't a gain. The great Prague.
This draft is crazy.
Oh wow, that's another rookie, isn't it? Yep. Wow. Frankly, these are actually some really solid Progs for this team. And I'd be super happy with it if I was the GM of this team. I do want to take a look at the draft once we finish up. We'll take a look at the draft and then free agency here. Looking at Anaheim, second to last team here. They had huge good Progs too.
Wow.
We're finishing here with a few really strong Progs. We'll see if the trend continues. Everyone going up. Honestly, even you just going up, I guess that's a little inconvenient because it's contract, but honestly, these are phenomenal Progs again. Billy Hull looking to be the team's franchise player as well. We'll see if Anaheim does well, but they could definitely build off this and be a really solid team next season. And we'll take a look with Alaska, our last team. And honestly, these aren't bad Progs by any stretch here. Luna, Podesta, Flora all going up right off the bench there. Nick Jacobs becoming a true franchise centerpiece. I feel like Mexico might have some regrets over having moved him. This is definitely deep playoff team, maybe GM of the year caliber switch. Looking at last season, they were a 28-win team, and now they are probably a locked-in playoff team in the West, which has been consistently pretty tough.
Podesta's another rookie too.
Podesta's also a rookie. Insane. All right, let's take a look at this draft. This draft was absolutely insane. So Willie Wright progged fine, but that's the worst of the. I guess Britt is technically the worst, but of the top 5, all I'd say are still phenomenal. Bostain is a 57-67, so only down 1-1. Gervin might be one of the bigger drop-offs. No, he actually went up 1. Mikan, small drop-off from Mikan. McGinnis is probably one of the bigger hits right there. Wow, this is a absolutely stacked draft. The only real busts that you're seeing are like Terry Stewart, maybe DJ Manners. I don't even know. I wouldn't even call
Sort by potential. See if.
by current potential.
Wow, that's crazy.
We got
Yeah.
several late picks all entering the top 10.
Oh, 38th pick in the second round.
Where's that?
Chamberlain.
Oh, Viceroy Chamberlain on Detroit. Damn, that's a good prog.
29th pick and 26th pick in the second.
Let's see. Wow, this is a really good draft. Now let's look at the worst. The worst oh my god.
Not the Gardner.
Gardner.
Oh my god, what have you done? This is it's like disrupting the flow of space and time. Like, how do you pull that one off? That was supposed to be a guaranteed plus $1 million.
Last thing we're going to look at here is free agency. There's some really high quality options. That might be a duplicate Sidney Dean. There might have been an error with the code. Or is there 2 Sidney Deans? I think there's 2 Sidney Deans. That's cool. Honestly, there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there that can be acquired. We'll see what occurs. I expect that this will be a pretty crazy wave 3 of free agency. And with that, I'm opening up the chat rooms here and stop the recording. And it was, I think, really cool progs. And we'll, yeah, let's have a good season.
Let's do it.